So this video is about SSL basics. We'll look at the basics and fundamentals of SSL, but in the next few videos, we'll build up on our knowledge about SSL, encryption, TLS, and all of that. So let's get started. Now, you know how HTTP works, which is a client's PC requests some information from the server responds back to the client. This is all right, but the thing is, HTTP is not encrypted by default. So that means if you're sending some payment-related information or personally identifiable information, like your credit card, you are going to send that to the server, and the server will send you some response. Now, at any of these two scenarios, there could be a hacker, which is called as a man-in-the-middle attack. The hacker can now intercept information, your PII information or your payment information. This means this is susceptible to eavesdropping. The other more dangerous aspect of this is something called as impersonation, where you are expecting some information from the server, but the man in the middle is now able to change that information and impersonate or act or pretend to be the server, and you blindly trust the server. That means when you send some information like, hey, I want to buy this for $10, the impersonator will actually end up saying to you that, hey, payment not received. Can you make the payment again? But the next time when you're making the payment is actually the web page from the impersonator. And that's what makes this more dangerous. This is why in front of HTTP, we added an S for security. The S is actually SSL, and SSL stands for Secure Sockets Layer. And this is how it happens now. Now, one thing to remember is that SSL brings in three qualities. The first is encryption. So when the client's PC makes a request to the server, it gets back an SSL certificate from the server. And that's when the client's PC is now able to trust the server. So how does the server get an SSL certificate in the first place? So I quickly want to share something very important with you. If you've used Codex CLI or Claude Code recently, you know that humans won't be writing a lot of code in the near future. So what will humans be doing? And the answer is they will be architecting systems and understanding how software scales from a 10,000 feet perspective. So all the planning and architecting will be the human's job, and AI will be mostly responsible for the implementation. And you'll begin to see this in the next 3 years. There's no course on the market right now that prepares you for this. And this is why I've built a 3-month intensive advanced system design cohort. It's meant for people who have some industry experience and who want to move on to leadership positions like directors, VP engineering, or CTO positions. If you think you're the right fit, there's a form in the description and in the comments of this video. We'll check to see if you're a good fit, and then we'll set up a call with you. Now let's get back to the video. That's because there's an authority that assigns these SSL certificates. Now, in this scenario, when the hacker tries a man-in-the-middle attack, he tries to intercept information, but he gets this, which is completely scrambled information. This is scrambled and encrypted. So eavesdropping becomes difficult. So that's why the first property of SSL, which is encryption, makes it difficult to eavesdrop information, which was very easy earlier. Now let's look at the second one, which is authentication. The client's PC now asks the hacker, am I talking to the right server? The hacker obviously is impersonating the actual server, and it says, yes, you are talking to the right server. But now the client's PC actually asks to see the certificate. And this is where the hacker fails. He doesn't have a certificate. Whereas if the client was actually talking to the right server, the client would ask, hey, am I talking to the right server? The server will reply back with its certificate and saying, hey, you can check out my certificate. So here, impersonation becomes difficult. So we've seen till now two qualities of SSL, authentication and encryption, and they've almost made the attacks, the man-in-the-middle attacks that we had earlier, almost very difficult, right? So let's look at the third quality, which is integrity. So what happens here is, let's say the client's PC tells the server that, hey, I want to buy this product on your website. So the client server says $100 deducted, it sends back this message, but it also sends back something called as a checksum. Now we'll learn about checksum in the upcoming videos, so don't worry about that. So it sends back something called as a checksum. Now the hacker also sends an information saying $10,000 deducted. Now it's trying to send the client into panic. But here's what happens. The client actually recalculates and verifies the checksum to ensure that the message has in fact been sent from the right authority or the right server. And this is something called as message authentication codes. That means for each message, there's an authentication code. That means this guy's message will not be considered. So this means you can't tamper with the information. So the third property, which is integrity, makes it difficult to tamper with information because of MACs. or message authentication codes. Now, there's also one more thing to define authentication much further. So we had authentication, but I want to define it much further in a much better way. So this is how the authentication checks actually take place, right? So what I'm saying is the trust is not that simple. Like, it's not just that when you send the certificate from the server to the client and the client starts trusting it. It doesn't happen like that. It's actually more authentication checks that take place. So what happens is the server sends the certificate to the client, but the client now thinks that, hey, this looks like a real certificate, but I wonder if it's from a good issuing authority. Now, he also checks, the client's PC, also checks that they've mentioned the name of the issuing server in there, and it says let's encrypt, which is a quite legit server, but I still better check with them if the certificate is legit or not. So the client PC actually makes a request to the issuing authority, asking if the certificate is legit, and Let's Encrypt or any other issuing authority says, yes, it's legit because I had issued it. But now, again, the client's PC asks the authority that, okay, it's legit, but is it expired though? But the authority says, no, it's long way from expiry. So yes, you can trust it. Now, the last check is that the client PC checks the domain name that the user had entered. So in this case, it's abcd.com. So the client PC is now thinking, all right, everything else checks out, but I just need to see if the certificate matches the domain name that the user had entered. And now it opens up the certificate, the SSL certificate. And it says that the SSL certificate is only valid for abcd.com. And the client PC now thinks that, cool, all checks completed because this is exactly the domain name that the user had entered. So let's start trusting all of the information that comes from the server now. And now the client tells the server, hey, it's all right. Feel free to send more information to me. So now this is how SSL works. Okay. Now in the next video, we'll look at why we went from SSL to TLS.